From Nutrien Ag Solutions, this is Senior Meteorologist Andrew Pritchard with your Canadian Prairie weather story for Monday, July 26th, 2021. Look at the public advisories here from Environment Canada. The gray shading you see there, air quality alerts as we continue to deal with dense wildfire smoke creating hazy conditions and poor air quality down near the surface. We've got yellow shading here in portions of west central Saskatchewan where we had a severe thunderstorm watch early this morning. That's continuing from the overnight hours. And then we've got a heat warning there in southwestern Manitoba. We'll look at the satellite picture here. You can see the anticyclonic flow across the western U.S. and western Canada ridge. We've got hot and dry conditions beneath that ridge. Some ridge-riding thunderstorms over the top of that. That's what's been moving out of Alberta and into western portions of Saskatchewan here early this morning. Take a look at the radar picture. You can see that rain and thunderstorm activity continuing to move off to the east into the southeast. The thunderstorm activity beginning to wane here as we head through the morning hours. So I'm going to be transitioning just towards some light showers, and eventually this activity will begin to fade as we head through the next 24 hours. Now we'll look at the NAM model as we take it through Thursday afternoon, and there is just not a lot to talk about as far as organized precipitation. We'll likely see a few widely isolated pop-up thunderstorms here during the afternoon with these very hot conditions across the region. But when we look at the total precipitation being put out by the NAM model through Thursday afternoon, again, very light, and much of the hit or miss shower and storm activity confined to areas north of Highway 16. And we'll compare that with the European model on the right. So left is the NAM, right is the European model, both of those just with very light precipitation, and much of that along and north of Highway 16. You head south of Highway 16, we're probably looking at a dry week ahead. And as I take this all the way out through the next 7 days, so now we're into the first day of August, very little in the way of additional precipitation. And the reason for that, we're going to have the expanding ridge kind of building into Western Canada. That's going to send us into a fairly mild, teetering on excessively hot at times pattern, but more notably just continuing the dry conditions across the region. So the next 5 days on the top, days 5 to 10 on the bottom. A little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, perhaps, down here on the bottom map here, days 5 to 10, but a lot of that confined to days 8, 9, and 10 as we get on the other side of next weekend into the first couple days of week 2. So low confidence in that here as we're talking about, again, 8 to 10 days out into the future here. What seems more certain is most folks are going to be dry over the next 5 to 7 days, and a lot of you are going to be on the warm side too as we look at temperature anomalies here forecast over the next 5 days on top, days 5 to 10 on the bottom. Mild just about everywhere through the next 10 days, perhaps seeing that heat a little bit more muted as you head off toward the east, and then again, especially as we get into the end of this week and next weekend, maybe looking at more in the way of a cool down in areas off to the east. And so what's driving all of this? Well, here's the ridge as it stands right now, kind of coming up through the Rockies into portions of southern Alberta. As I hit play on this, though, you can watch the ridge really begin to grow as we head through the week here and really anchor itself through western Canada, from the western United States through the northwest U.S. into western Canada. And so, again, you're looking for big precipitation. That's not how you're going to do it, putting a big ridge of high pressure right through the region. And if you're looking for warm conditions, that is how you would do it. So a fairly obvious pattern here as we head through the week, and unfortunately it's not obvious in the wet direction. It's obvious in the dry and hot direction, which we've had a lot of as we've headed through the summer here across the Canadian Prairie. And so this is what it looks like as we head into the weekend. The end of the week, this is why I'm thinking maybe a little bit more muted as you make your way off to the east, as you're kind of in the northwest flow regime, but not really the part of the regime here that would be developing the northwest flow thunderstorms that we talk about across the northern U.S. into the Midwest U.S. a lot. Right now, this would kind of favor really the upper Midwest into portions of the Great Lakes for thunderstorm activity. So again, we stay dry across western Canada with the precipitation likely being confined to areas to our south and to our east. Now, as we head into the first week of August, we start to lose some of our confidence in where this is going, but the ridge doesn't look to break down in any sort of rapid fashion. So again, reliably dry is what the forecast looks like here, which is, again, not what a lot of you are looking for me to be talking about each Monday morning. So I apologize that I don't have better news for you. We'll look at the actual jet stream winds that accompany all of this. And again, as we look at the ridge right now, you can see the flow across western Canada, across the prairie here. some of those little embedded short waves, and that's where we've seen some of the, at times, isolated to scattered shower and storm activity. But as we head toward the end of the week, this gets now into kind of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, jet stream support really going to be lifting north of the Prairie, north of Highway 16 into northern portions of the Prairie provinces, and even some split flow as we talk about portions of Western Canada. So really, just about everything stacked against organized, widespread, beneficial precipitation across the Canadian Prairie through the next work week. We'll look at the precipitation forecast that accompanies all of this now that I've shown you the background kind of pattern here, and we'll bring it back to Monday morning. Again, that shower and storm activity that's ongoing across eastern Alberta into western Saskatchewan today should begin to fade. We're just unfortunately not going to see a long-lived area of showers and storms producing some soaking rain across the region. It should fade through the rest of the day today, taking us into a mostly dry week. This is now Monday night, getting into Tuesday morning. Again, the one area that we could see, more than one shot at some isolated to scattered showers and storms is going to be coming off the mountains here, generally between Calgary and Edmonton, maybe at times some isolated to scattered showers and storms during the afternoon and evening hours. This will take us into Wednesday now, into Thursday and Friday now. Again, the ridge just maximized right here across Western Canada. Any precipitation you're seeing here is coming across the east and down into the Great Lakes, accompanying some disturbances riding up and over the top of the ridge. So this gets us into next weekend right now. And again, nothing in the way of widespread, organized, beneficial rainfall. Plenty in the way of mild conditions, though. Your temperature anomalies over the next 5 days, and then days 5 to 10 will be on the bottom there. We'll just finish with a look at some select cities here across the region. Calgary, high temperatures in the upper 20s through the end of the week. Mid to upper 20s in Edmonton, kind of bouncing between upper 20s and low 30s as you head off to the east. This is Saskatoon, and then Regina, the hot day tomorrow, Tuesday with a high of 34. And then Winnipeg, also bouncing around between upper 20s and lower 30s, potentially cooling off into the mid 20s. If you want to call that cooler here as we head through the last couple days of July and the first few days of August. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. We'll continue searching for that rainfall chance as we head through the week. I'll be sending out the weekly report, or the daily report, in the morning. And then we'll talk to you again a week from today.